Hello everyone, and welcome back to Simple Sounds. Today we are doing chapter 9 and 10 of Joshua. But first we have some sounds. I'm actually in my Jeep, our Jeep. My car went bad. Look, I might need to get a new car. But it'll probably be the same style car. Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua. Okay, let's begin. All the kings west of the Jordan River heard about these things. The kings of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. They lived in the mountains and on the western hills and along the whole Meridian seacoast. So all these kings gathered to fight Joshua and the Israelites. So when people of Gibeon heard how Joshua had defeated Jericho and Ai, they decided to trick the Israelites. They gathered old sacks and old leather wine bags that were cracked and mended, and they put them on the back of their donkeys. They put in old sandals on their feet and wore old clothes, and they took some dry, moldy bread. Then they went to Joshua in the camp near Gilgal. The men said to Joshua and the Israelites, "We have traveled from a faraway country. Make a peace agreement with us." The Israelites said to the Hivites, "Maybe you live near us. How can we make a peace agreement with you?" The Hivites said to Joshua, "We are your servants." But Joshua asked, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" The men answered, "We are your servants who have come from a far country because we heard of the fame of the Lord your God. We heard about what he has done and everything he did in Egypt. We heard that he defeated the 2 kings of the Amorites from the east side of the Jordan River, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who ruled in Ashtaroth." So our older leaders and our people said to us, "Take food for your journey and go and meet the Israelites. Tell them we are your servants. Make a peace agreement with us. Look at our bread. On the day we left home to come to you, it was warm and fresh, but now it is dry and moldy. Look at our leather wine bags. They were new and filled with wine, but now they are cracked and old. Our clothes and sandals are worn out from the long journey. The men of Israel tasted the bread, but they did not ask the Lord what to do. So Joshua agreed to make peace with the Gibeonites and to let them live. And the leaders of the Israelites swore an oath to keep the agreement. 3 days after they had made the agreement, the Israelites learned that the Gibeonites lived nearby. So the Israelites went where they lived, and on the 3rd day came to their cities: Gibeon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack those cities, because they had made a promise to them before the Lord, the God of Israel. All the Israelites grumbled against the leaders, but the leaders answered, "We have given our promise before the Lord, the God of Israel, so we cannot attack them now. This is what we must do. We must let them live. Otherwise, God's anger will be against us for breaking the oath we swore to them. So let them live, but they will cut wood and carry water for our people." So the leaders kept their promise to them. Joshua called for the Gibeonites and asked, "Why did you lie to us? Your land was near our camp, but you told us you were from a far country. Now you will be placed under a curse to be our slaves. You will have to cut wood and carry water for the house of my Lord." The Gibeons answered Joshua, "We lied to you because we were afraid you would kill us. We heard that the Lord your God commanded his servant Moses to give you all of this land and to kill all the people who lived in it. That is why we did this. Now you can decide what to do with us, whatever you think is right." So Joshua saved their lives by not allowing the Israelites to kill them, but he made the Gibeonites slaves. They cut wood and carried water for the Israelites, and they did it for the altar of the Lord, wherever he chose it to be. They are still doing this today. The sun stands still. At this time, Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had defeated Ai and completely destroyed it, as he had also done to Jericho and its king. The king also learned that the Gibeonites had made a peace agreement with Israel and that they lived nearby. Adoni-Zedek and his people were very afraid because of this. Gibeon was not a little town like Ai. It was a large city, as big as a city that had a king, and all its men were good fighters. So Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent a message to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jarmuth, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Deber, king of Eglon. He begged them, "Come with me and help me attack Gibeon, which has made a peace agreement with Joshua and the Israelites." Then these 5 Amorite kings, the king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, gathered their armies and went to Gibeon, surrounded it, and attacked it. The Gibeonites sent this message to Joshua and his camp at Gilgal: "Don't let us, your servants, be destroyed. Come quickly and help us, save us. All the Amorites kings from the mountains have joined their armies and are fighting against us." So Joshua marched out of Gilgal and his whole army, including his best fighting men. The Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid of those armies, because I will hand them over to you. None of them will be able to stand against you. Joshua and his army marched all night from Gilgal for a surprise attack. The Lord confused those armies when Israel attacked. So Israel defeated them in a great victory at Gibeon. They chased them along the road going up the Beth Horon and killed men all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. As they chased the enemies down the Beth Horon pass to Azekah, the Lord threw large hailstones on them from the sky and killed them. More people were killed by the hailstones than by the Israelite swords. On that day, the Lord gave up the Amorites to the Israelites. Joshua stood before all the people of Israel and said to the Lord, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon. Moon, stand still over the valley of Aijalon." So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped until the people defeated their enemies. These words are written in the book of Jashar. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky and waited to go down for a full day. That has never happened in any time before that day or since. That was the day the Lord listened to a human being. Truly the Lord was fighting for Israel. After this, Joshua and his army went back to the camp at Gilgal. Okay guys, I had to turn on it was getting hot. It was getting too hot. And I usually want to keep this like very tranquil, but and this story is getting really good. It's getting really good, so I don't want to stop because I did think about I'll stop and just redo this whole chapter tomorrow. But I don't. I want to know what happens next. During the fight, the 5 kings ran away and hid in a cave near Makkedah. But someone found them hiding in the cave at Makkedah and told Joshua. So he said, "Cover the openings of the cave with large rocks. Put some men there to guard it, but don't stay there yourselves. Continue chasing the enemy and attacking them from behind. Don't let them get to the city, because the Lord your God will hand them over to you." So Joshua and the Israelites killed the enemy, but a few were able to get back to their strong walled cities. After the fighting, Joshua's men came back safely to him at Makkedah. No one was brave enough to say a word against the Israelites. Joshua said, "Move the rocks that are covering the openings of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me." So Joshua's men brought the 5 kings out of the cave, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they brought the 5 kings out to Joshua, he called for all his men. He said to the commanders of his army, "Come here. Put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came close and put their feet on their necks. Joshua said to his men, "Be strong and brave. Don't be afraid, because I will show you what the Lord will do to the enemies you will fight in the future." Then Joshua killed the 5 kings and hung their bodies on 5 trees, where he left them until evening. At sunset, Joshua told his men to take the bodies down from the trees. Then they threw them into the same cave where they had been hiding and covered the opening of the cave with large rocks, which are still there today. That day, Joshua defeated Makkedah. He killed the king and completely destroyed all the people in that city, as an offering to the Lord. No one was left alive. He did the same thing to the king of Makkedah that he had done to the king of Jericho, defeating southern cities. Joshua and all the Israelites traveled from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord handed over the city and its king. They killed every person in the city, and no one was left alive. And they did the same thing to that king that they had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all the Israelites left Libnah and went to Lachish, which they surrounded and attacked. The Lord handed over Lachish on the second day. The Israelites killed everyone in the city, just as they had done to Libnah. During this time, Horan, king of Jazer, came to help Lachish, but Joshua also defeated him and his army. No one was left alive. Then Joshua and all the Israelites went from Lachish to Eglon. They surrounded Eglon, attacked it, and captured it in the same day. They killed all its people and completely destroyed everything in it as an offering to the Lord, just as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua the Israelites went from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it, capturing it and all the little towns near it. The Israelites killed everyone in Hebron. No one was left alive there. Just as they had done to Eglon, they completely destroyed the city and all its people as an offering to the Lord. Then Joshua and the Israelites went back to Debir and attacked it. They captured that city, its king, and all the little towns near it, completely destroying everyone in Debir as an offering to the Lord. No one was left alive there. Israel did to Debir and its king just as they had done to Libnah and its king, just as they had done to Hebron. So Joshua defeated all the kings of the cities of these areas, the mountains, southern Canaan, the western hills, and the slopes. The Lord, the God of Israel, had told Joshua to completely destroy all the people as an offering to the Lord. So he left no one alive in those places. Joshua captured all the cities from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and from Goshen to Gibeon. He captured all these cities and their kings on one trip, because the Lord, the God of Israel, was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua and all the Israelites returned to their camp at Gilgal. Life lesson, Joshua 9:1 through 10:43. Situation. God did not promise the Israelites the land without giving them the strength to conquer it. God helped Joshua lead the people into possessions of their land. Observation. God does not give us commands or lead us to decisions and leave us to fight the obstacles in our own strength. He strengthens us and guides us in every detail. Inspiration. I found I had driven into a bog. I should know I had missed the road, but this knowledge would not be much comfort if I then had to stand helpless watching the car sink and vanish. The damage would be done, and that would be that. Is it the same when a Christian wakes up to the fact that he has missed God's guidance and taken the wrong way? Is the damage irreversible? Must he now be put of God? Is a God who not merely destroys, but takes up our mistakes and follies into his plan for us and brings good out of them. This is the part of the wonder of his gracious sovereignty. Guidance, like all God's acts of blessing and under covenant of grace, is a sovereign act. Not merely does God will to guide us in the sense of showing us his way, he wills also to guide us in the more fundamental senses of ensuring that whatever happens, Whatever mistakes we make, we shall come safe home. Slipping and straying there will be, no doubt. But the everlasting arms are beneath us. We shall be caught, rescued, restored. This is God's promise. This is how good He is. Thus, it appears that the right context of the discussing guidance is one of confidence in the God who will not let us ruin our souls. From Knowing God by J.I. Packer. Application. Do you know someone who is suffering from unwise decisions? Is that person having trouble putting life back together? Contact that individual. What can you do to help? Be available for God to work through your service. As I was reading, I kept thinking the wars that we are going through, like right now, the wars between countries and disagreements and attacks and stuff that happens nowadays. But this is such a great message, even though a lot of people are still being killed. It shows that God gives you that strength. I mean, Joshua covered lots of ground. He killed 5 kings and conquered their cities, all their cities, everything inside their cities. We're talking about not just like little developments, house developments. These were cities, large cities. And they did this in one day. In one day. Of course, God made it so it would last. So that day would be a long, long day. When you're doing what God wants you to do, He's got your back. He's there to help you. He's the one that gives you the strength and pushes you to, hey, go for it, because I'm here with you. I feel that I'm being pushed. Even with this channel, I feel God is pushing me to do more videos, pushing me to do more of this. And it's like, I see the blessings within. It's incredible, guys, when you let God lead you. And it doesn't mean like your life would be perfect. Joshua was tricked. They tricked the Gibeons were tricked the Israelites, and even then he was like, no, I will do the right thing. They could have wiped them out right there, but he wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to keep God's promise, keep the agreement that God said, you must honor this. And it gets me so excited that how awesome that God is with you, that God is there to fight your battles. God is there to help you when you fall. Pick up those pieces. Even if you don't have all of your pieces together, He will create something amazing out of what you've done and turn it around. Even if it's you messed the whole thing up, God can still use those little pieces of that and restore them. Restore those pieces and create something new, something amazing. So I pray for you guys. Have those conversations with God and open up your heart. Open up your heart. And what I've learned, and even just in this past week, I felt like I needed to just stop over analyzing, stop trying to figure things out. Let God use the little bit that I have and restore it and turn it around so it works for the best. So thanks again for watching. I hope the air conditioning wasn't too much of a distraction. I do want to eventually go back into my studio and do the videos there, but I really do love my car videos, because it's just I'm in my own little bubble here. It's me and you guys. So be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and share it with someone that you love that can use some inspiration, some motivation, and just some extra love. So leave a comment below. Let me know what other topics you want me to talk about. I even thought about doing like a Q&A video, a type of style video. So let me know what you think. Leave it in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.